to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the March meeting of the Philipstown Town Board. Approval of minutes. PDT meeting, January 9th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I say aye. Workshop meeting of January 15th, 2025.
I would just like to make a note on this one.
Yep.
If you look at the very beginning, it says that the meeting was held at the Philipstown Recreation Center. It was not. That was my mistake. It was because I copy and pasted from a template. It was at the town hall, so I just want to make note of that.
That's January 9th?
January 15th.
Oh, the 15th.
This weekend,
So
I make a motion to accept it with the amendment as read.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. PH1 of February 6th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. February 6th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
And I vote aye. All in favor, sorry.
Aye.
Monthly meeting of February 6th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Committee reports, Conservation Board.
Right on time.
Right on time.
That's you. Okay, we'll skip over you then. Recreation, can we go to recreation?
Yes, Recreation. The Philipstown Recreation Commission met in February, and the winter programs are still in full swing, while registration for all spring programs launched on February 11th. The majority of those will kick off in mid to late March. All registration for aftercare, before care, and preschool for the fall are being held this month. And most importantly, so is summer camp registration. Summer camp registration will take place online and over the phone, not in person, for residents this Monday, March 10th at 8:30 a.m. We have been advertising this since January. We've released all weeks, themes, and payment information ahead of time, and last night the Recreation Department held a Q&A session for families who have any questions about the summer camp program. So I know that you really want to be on that.
It's in high demand.
On March 10th as early as possible. As the parent who had a daughter in those programs, I know how quickly they fill up. So
Yes, it does.
that's this coming Monday.
And we're not adding another location or
No.
another staff, so.
We're not.
Is that like,
So
when does that open up? Like 8 o'clock in the morning?
it opens up at 8:30.
8:30?
The phone lines and the online registration. There is no in-person registration. The senior luncheon was also held on February 19th at noon, and it was a very busy and successful event with the seniors very happy with the lunch and with seeing each other. Senior trips are resuming this month with one to Broadway to see Hadestown. So that sounds exciting. Last Thursday, the basketball season ended, and the recreation staff had the commission chair, Eric Cupper, and the Depot Theater reps meet to tour the rec center property to determine a location for the Depot building, which will be a workshop where classes, theater staff offices are, and costumes, importantly, are housed. OSI, the Open Space Institute, has a meeting on March 14th with the Depot, and they want to have a solid building site in place by then.
We're meeting them down there tomorrow.
You'll be meeting them tomorrow?
At
Okay.
4:30.
And Philipstown Park kicked off field maintenance this week, and the park is slated to open Saturday, April 19th. This is the first year the rec department is working in-house to treat the fields rather than outsourcing it to Griffin Organics. This is an effort to save costs for the recreation department. And finally, last but not least, unfortunately, the water tower on the recreation center property has experienced a sizable leak, which is being assessed by SEMCO, the company that the Garrison Institute uses to monitor water and sewage usage on both the rec center and Garrison Institute properties. It's been determined this will take a repair that could take roughly 8 weeks. And I know Supervisor Van Tassel has been kept well informed.
I actually had a phone call today from Cody from SEMCO. They're planning on bringing in a smaller storage tank that will be connected to the wells, and so the wells that feed the water tower will now fill the tanker that they're going to put there. We're not buying any water because we have plenty of water on that location. But there will be a trailer parked there for however long it takes to fix the leak. The tower is going to have to be drained, which is a lot of water, 90,000 gallons, I believe it is. So that'll be drained down. I'm sure we'll use it to fill and, just usage. And there is a leak, so I'm sure it's draining down currently. And then they're going to have to assess where the leak is. It's somewhere in the shaft that goes up underneath of the tower itself. Inside that insulated cylinder is a 4-inch line and a 10-inch line. They don't know which one it is that's leaking, but there's enough pressure in that column that it's forcing the water all the way back up and out through a seam in the insulation. So they're planning on being down there next Wednesday to start the process of switching the water over to this storage container. So we get one water thing repaired. Garrison Landing is the well pumps in, it's connected. It's just a matter of tying it in at the other end, getting the approvals that we need to go online with it. And now this happened. The water tower is owned by the Garrison Institute. However, we are responsible for 50% of the repair costs. At least that's my understanding as of now. I conferenced Richard and Bill Mazuka about it to get there. Obviously, that's been in place for a while. So we will work with the Garrison Institute to make sure that it's not wasting water and that we have a substantial water supply there. If you're in the area, stay away from it. It is all roped off, but there was some ice falling the other day. That's why they didn't immediately go and check on it, because the ice was coming down. But we'll see what happens. Let's hope for the best.
Thank you, Supervisor Van Tassel and Cecily Hall, the Director of the Recreation Department, for that report.
Thank you, Judy. Appreciate it. Sure. Mr. Conservation Board, are you ready for it?
Yes, I'm ready. Conservation Board, February 11th, met and had a correspondence from the Planning Board, 236 Old Albany Post Road. Conservation Board will review the electric plans and schedule a site visit. Piece of old business, Timber Ridge, 346 Indian Brook Road in Garrison. Applicant is seeking 2 permits for construction of a driveway and a second permit for expansion of a dwelling and septic tank. It's been in front of the Conservation Board for a while. Conservation Board issued a conditional permit. In some new business, 155 East Mountain Road, applicant is seeking a permit to build a accessory cabin within 100 feet of an existing pond. The Conservation Board is going to plan a site visit. It comes within 26 feet of the pond, so they want to see what the plans are for the site. In other discussion, even though it's not in the town of Philipstown, the Conservation Board has been keeping an eye on Century Aggregates in the town of Fishkill is proposing a concrete plant on Route 9, which is close to the Clove Creek tributary. And so on March 13th, the town of Fishkill is reviewing the plans and will ask questions, and the Conservation Board will watch that broadcast and report back. That was it for the Conservation Board. The next meeting is on Tuesday, March 11th at 7:30.
Thank you, and thank you to the Conservation Board. Philipstown Hub.
The Philipstown Hub held several public free events in February, including February 13th, the middle school hangout. On February 24th, a support group for women with ADHD, and the appreciative listening session at the new 3590 Route 9 office on Thursday, February 27th, in partnership with Putnam County, the Bridge Alliance, and People USA. The session was designated to gather community members to give their input and to collaborate to make sure Putnam County residents have access to the mental health systems that they need. Thank you to Putnam County for participating and helping with the Hub. The Hub also scheduled a private grief support group for Haldane students that have experienced recent loss for Thursday, March 6th. That's today, actually. It's at 3:15. The Hub's working directly with the school administration at Haldane to initiate outreach, and the Hub's You Matter line is open for residents that may want to receive supportive calls and outreach. We encourage anyone to sign up online at the website philipstownhub.org You Matter line to receive calls and have ongoing conversations with our community and crisis coordinator, Alexandria Clegg, who is a licensed social worker. And the next meeting of the Hub Board of Directors will take place on Wednesday, March 12th. There are several upcoming events in March, including a series of stress on the job support groups. The next one is March 11th, and there's one on March 18th and 24th at 6 p.m. Again, register at philipstownhub.org. There are also Narcan training sessions March 13th at the Desmond Fish Library at 6 p.m. and an adult grief support group Thursday, March 27th at the 5 Stone Street office at 5 p.m. Finally, there were a couple of examples given of cases, and one that was especially moving was the Hub received a call from a participant in need of support. And even though the participant resided out of county, she was referred to the Hub through 211, and the Hub doesn't turn anyone away. They were able to consult with the participant over the phone and help find the participant the needed services that they need, and resources and providers. So thank you to the Hub coordinator and also to the Semra Ertl, the executive director, who her last day is tomorrow. She has found an opportunity closer to home. So, Semra, thank you for all your support and leadership with the Hub. I believe Michelle Cupper will be the new executive director.
Yes, I did get an email this afternoon. I didn't know if it was public that was happening, but I guess the announcement has been made. But yes, Michelle Cupper was named the new executive director. If you don't know Michelle, she's obviously very functional at getting stuff accomplished. So I look forward to working with Michelle on the Hub. So it'll be wonderful.
You should go to that stress in the work group session at the Hub. Yeah, the support group.
Yeah.
Stress in the workplace work group.
Should
Yeah,
be a town board requirement.
that would be a retreat. Yeah.
Instead of dogs, it should be there.
Yeah. Maybe more could get accomplished. You know.
Julie, I got one question. This 3590 location, is someone there all day, or how does that work up there?
I don't have this scheduled. It's not open all day. The storefront is
I just like to
more
stop by
accessible.
one day and check it out, that's all.
I
Yes.
did have a brief exchange with Michelle today, and I'd like to invite her in, obviously, just like we've done with every other executive director, and that's certain we can, find out. I think it's fantastic that we do have, it's just growing and it's expanding, and they have 20 years of free rent there, so that's a great home for them. And they're keeping this facility open as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
which
a lot of people like to walk in
It's
at
walk-ins,
the accessible.
Good. Thank you to the Hub, thank you.
Yes, and there's plenty of parking on Route 9 at that site too, so there's no problem.
It's a
with
good
that. It's a
location.
great facility.
Alrighty, planning board.
Planning board, I attended the planning board meeting February, it's not over where it's supposed to be, my fault. Anyway, good evening, everybody. I attended the planning board meeting February 20th. Full agenda, correspondence, Consensus Plaza, 3626 Route 9. They extended it again for a 45-day extension. This is like the second or third time they've done that. It's in their right to do so, so they did so. We had one public hearing, which is KB Properties, 201 Old West Point Road down in Garrison. They've been forwarded to the planning board the last several months. For the public hearing, there was one citizen, which is a neighbor to the south of them. She has some concerns. She's a good neighbor of them and doesn't have a problem what's going on there, but she's a little bit concerned and wants to see a little bit more buffer between her property and this property. The applicant says they'll do what they can to accommodate her request. Her other concern was that there's a pretty good-sized building that they're putting up there, and she thought the building itself was kind of big for that site. Again, I don't know if that's going to be changed at all, but she did voice her concerns. The public hearing remained open. There was one other concern that the planning board did have as well. It's a 14% grade of that new entrance they're going to put off of that onto Route 9, and also the concern about water coming off of that road driveway onto Route 9. That's supposed to be all going to be addressed. Old business, Hudson Highland Reserve, exactly who's the same people who donating that space for the Hub on that building up there. They're in front of the planning board now for over 13 years, but it's coming to an end, okay? Max reviewed the wetlands inspector and approved the Omer Pond management plans. That was one of the last outstanding issues that need to be addressed. So the planning board directed Ron Gaynor to prepare a resolution for approval at next month's meeting on March 20th. Again, I'd like to thank the planning board for all the work and diligence they've done on this project for these last many years. They didn't let any stone go unturned. And I think as going through all this process, the project came out better than when it had started. So getting public hearing and going through the right process makes things much better for everybody. Other on the agenda was Roseberry Corbett, 548 East Mountain Road. She was been before the planning board the last several months. He was just looking for a lot line adjustment, and that was been approved. Ferguson Chong, 2236 Albany Post Road, which Jason, I believe, just mentioned as well. They're in front of the planning board. There was an applicant, which I read last month. They originally has an existing 1,600 square foot home. They're ripping that down and proposing a 4,070 foot home. They're going to use a new well and a new septic system as well. Everything else is going to be decommissioned except for the pool and the garage. The board has discussed the last submittal, and they're doing a site visit on March 16th at 9:30 a.m. New on the agenda was Kingsley, 50 Albany Post Road. They're looking to a site amendment to the site approval already. They want to convert a 4-bay garage into a two one-bedroom apartments. Currently, there's two bedroom apartments upstairs, but they're no longer going to use the garage for the businesses, from what they say. So they want to get the approval to make it into living space. So the board declared this as a minor project, an unlisted seeker action, in a coordinated review, referred to the county planning, county board of health, conservation board, as Jason indicated, and North Highlands Fire Company. No site visit is required, and a public hearing is scheduled for March 20th. Meeting was adjourned at 8:20, and next meeting is March 20th, 7:30.
Thank you, Bobby. Zoning, Megan is absent this evening due to a family issue. Highway.
Submitted by Adam Hoteling, Superintendent of Highways. Unlike January and February, a series of back-to-back storms with snow and ice, with our crews had to deal with. Several were more impactful with freezing, rain, and ice. The highway crews continued their annual winter work, removing ice, sanding, and salting during storms, as well as regular road maintenance. Just a heads up, they do not do any curb work until the plant opens in late spring. The Highway Department received approximately 10 phone calls regarding issues on the road and roughly spent $6,360 on vehicle maintenance. End of report.
Thank you to the Highway Department. Is it possible we're through the winter, no more snow?
I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up. But
March is,
Never know.
in like a lion, out like a lamb, or is that April?
Yeah. Building and land acquisition, I have nothing. Cemetery committee will get a super report next month. Oh, actually, we do have an item we have to discuss. It's not the.
on the agenda.
Yeah, we'll do it on the
There's a
agenda.
resolution.
Okay,
Right.
perfect. So right on to the agenda. Let's go. Go ahead, Tara.
First on the agenda is Karen Ertl to offer an update on the food scrap recycling program.
Karen, welcome. Thank you.
Hello. This is just the yearly update on the food scraps program, and first thing I'd like to do is apologize. You have to change it to 2025. It says 2024.
I didn't even look at that. I'm
No,
sorry.
neither did I. So it is
She
the
used the same template,
2025
that's why.
report. And it's being submitted by the Food Scrap Advisory Committee, which this year is Councilman Angel, Councilwoman Farrell, Climate Task Force member Eric Brown, and myself. I'd also like to thank Councilman Flaherty and Supervisor Hoatling for their continued support, because they've been very, very, very helpful. Believe it or not, we're going into our third year in May. We will be 3 years old. The program still is voluntary. There is no charge to join, but we strongly encourage all the participants to get a starter kit because it makes it so easy. The kit and the replacement supplies are all sold at cost. Participants are still asked to register, and the registration at this time is, another correction, 282 families.
Quick question on that.
Pardon me?
So, if I go up there and don't buy a bucket, should I still be registered?
Sure.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
Yes,
Okay.
you can register and not buy the kit.
That's what I'm asking.
Right,
Yeah,
as long
yes.
as you comply with all the other drop-off regulations, you don't have to buy the kit. We also, in that registration, have 2 libraries, Desmond Fish and Butterfield, and 2 school pilots, the Haldane Middle School and the Foundry Montessori School, are all participating. Each week, we have over 1,000 pounds of food scraps that gets diverted from landfills. In 2025, in cooperation with the Village of Cold Spring and with the help of Trustee Bosey, a second drop-off site was created on Kemble Avenue. The drop-off site contributes another 400 pounds of food scraps weekly. The food scrap recycling program is a drop-off program. There is no curbside pickup. And we are using two sites, as I said. One is the drop-off site at Lane Gate. We use the standard recycling hours, so it's open to people from 9 to 3 on Saturdays. We maintain 10 toters, which are 64-gallon rolling bins that have a capacity of about 200 pounds of food scraps. The new downtown Kemble Avenue drop-off is within the village of Cold Spring. It's open to the public from Tuesday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and it's unsupervised. The setup is a small shed with 2 totes and a combination lock. Each week, a volunteer opens the shed, unlocks the lock, and then it's locked again when the pickup happens on Wednesday. The shed remains locked from Wednesday to Monday, and the toters are completely filled each week, both the 2 of them. The food scrap program currently is recovering between, as they say, 1,000 and 1,400 pounds of food scraps a week. That's more than 24 tons per year. So annually, the program is recovering more than 37,000 net pounds of carbon dioxide. This is the equivalent of an additional 4.77 tons of waste not going to landfills, or 1,582 gallons of gasoline not consumed, or the energy needs of almost 2 families returned to the environment annually. All the residents of the town of Philipstown are invited to join in this effort, and we thank everybody who is currently participating. If you want to know more information, please contact Food Scrap Recycle at philipstown.com or search Food Scrap Recycle on the town website. On behalf of the residents of Philipstown, I'd like to thank the board for their continued support in this effort. I would like to mention, I was encouraged to mention, last week on the 26th, we held our first commercial food scrap workshop. It was hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, the Climate Smart Task Force, and the Hudson Valley Shakespeare. We had about 12 businesses show up. It was very positive. People were looking for strategies. How can they work together, think outside the box, and be able to start recycling food scraps commercially in town, in the village? So, onward and upward. I don't know if you guys have any questions?
I would just like to thank you, of course, Karen, for everything. You've done this for how many, 3 years now, and it started out with a couple thoughts and a visit to, where was it, Scarsdale?
Scarsdale. Yeah. Scarsdale got us out of the weeds.
We appreciate everything you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
I attended that meeting last week as well. It was very informative, and I think the business that came were pretty enthused about it.
Yeah.
And after we gave them these facts and so forth like that, and Garrison is already doing it themselves already, so that's one.
The Hudson Valley Shakespeare
Right.
is already commercially, they've been food scrap recycling for 2 years. This is their 2nd year.
Probably quite a bit generated by the commercial end too, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
You would think that there's quite a bit of food scrap generation, but from the rest of it.
There's a lot of ideas kicking around there, which I think will come to fruition at some point in time, but there's a lot of good discussion and some great ideas thrown out there.
Yeah, that committee has a meeting next week and to talk about next steps. What do we need to do next steps to help them, to facilitate it, so.
Thank you, Karen, for your leadership.
Thank you.
Did you know about that New York State agency that?
Oh, yeah, there's a New York State agency, CET. Now it's do you remember how that translates? I didn't bring it with me. It's ecotechnology, community ecotechnology. It's been hired by the state to help with food scrap programs. So they've been invited to come into the process in the village because they also have ideas for funding and handouts, workshops, organization for people. So that group is also working with that. But one of the things, that Bob brought up, which none of us expected, I think, is it really is a community effort. It's really a community working together, community supporting each other, and even the commercial businesses are saying, how do we work together? How can we do this together to make it happen? So it's a really positive, nice adventure to be part of. So thank you for your support.
Karen, I think it's worth noting that you've a few times kind of brought to our attention potential grants that could go into making the recycling center a little bit more up to speed and refurbished. So that sounds like an exciting thing to think of.
Yeah, we threw that out at the Climate Smart Task Force, and there's some interest in maybe working together with the village to come up with a proposal for a grant that would help to expand our capacity to recycle and save
That's a
tires.
beautiful place to visit up there. Isn't
It is.
it? I mean, it couldn't get much better.
Just last month on that, we did do a reconfiguration of the things up there. We changed the food scrap area from way that was way over onto the left-hand side. We moved it over to right onto the right-hand side when you would come in. So it's much nicer spot for that, at least, and it gives us more room for scrap metal and so forth as it was over there. So this location is much nicer and a lot easier, more convenient for the people coming up there as well.
Thank you.
The recycling center's become a social center on Saturday. It's people, friends meeting friends.
And the farmer's market, right? You're still doing the
We still do the farmer's market, second Saturday every month, all year long, and it is a courtesy drop-off. If people only have one small bag, they can bring it to the farmer's market and drop it off there, and they will bring it up to the recycling center.
Great.
So it's really nice. It's a community working together.
It's amazing what this community can do.
It really is.
Thank
Nice
you.
place.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Glenn Weinberg to review the possibility of an extension of the current CCA contract.
Jason, you spoke to him. He's unavailable. I guess.
Yeah, he was not able to make it. He apologized. So he is a fairly simple summary. The town, is in the CCA, and we're founding member. And our last contract was to end June 30th, and so the town board approved with the other CCA communities releasing an RFP for the new contract and a new service provider. And Glenn and Jules' advice is that the responses to that RFP were not, as competitive in terms of a lower price than they would have wanted. That the energy market is just incredibly up and down right now because of everything that's going on. And so their recommendation was to extend our current CCA contract at the same exact rate from June 30th, when it would end, until November 20th.
Right.
And so we would just need to amend that electric services agreement, and then I guess we would go back out for an RFP in November when they expect the energy.
I was on that call that day, and I didn't quite understand the approach because he gave us a target number, and he said as long as the prices come in under this number, he's going to recommend that we sign.
Yeah.
The numbers, it did come in. It was like
Just barely.
like a tenth of a cent
Yeah.
under what the number was, and he said the market is very volatile and I wouldn't lock in at this rate, but that didn't seem to make sense because if the market is volatile, why not lock in at that rate?
Yeah, yeah.
So could he come back? I mean, can he come in April and explain it? I mean, we have till June to
I guess
sign.
so. As he was telling me that
unless he's expecting it to.
that they're expecting it to. He just said that the market is so chaotic right now that they think we will get a better deal in a few months.
Okay.
And so they're hoping that we would amend that contract. I told him our next meeting was April 2nd or April 3rd. April 3rd, thank you. And he said, he said that may be too late. I said, well, we may have a workshop before then.
We could schedule something.
But if not, April 3rd, and he will give us that amended electric agreement.
Right.
And
To
if we
extend
decided
what-
not to extend
I
it.
forget the name of the current company, but it is
Direct.
direct
Yeah.
energy. There you go. It's it's a decent rate what we're getting now.
It
Still,
is.
It's still a decent rate. But
Yeah. And if we decide not to extend, I guess everybody would just go back to Central Hudson until the
it
next.
would all defer. back.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so do you want to reach out to him and see if he can come in April, or if it has to happen sooner, we can
Okay.
meet, we can schedule a workshop
Okay.
in the month of March.
Okay.
Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
And I
thank
did hear about the volatility in the markets before I came here. I didn't realize New York depends a lot on Canadian electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the
I
hidro.
think there's a lot of volatility.
There's a lot of
There's a-
volatility.
There's like
matter where you
Ukraine. There's a lot of volatility in the energy market, right?
In every
They were
market.
talking about that out of Canadian, could really screw
Alrighty,
us.
so we're gonna table this till,
Well,
So
it was just a discussion. There's no.
April or sooner. Okay.
Next on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the Philipstown Highway Department to auction off old equipment through Gov Deals. Do you want me to list off the old equipment that they're auctioning?
I don't think
I don't
we need
think
to.
we need
Is
It's all
anybody
listed in the
interested? We have a
resolution,
copy of
which is
it.
public, if anybody wants to know.
So this is a process for us to get rid of stuff that they are not currently using. There's quite an extensive list. There's no sense of keeping this scrap iron laying around. And in the past, they've auctioned and done quite well on the equipment. So,
And this is a different auction company,
yeah,
I'm told. So.
yeah.
It is.
This is not something that like a town resident could go and
Yes,
bid on. Oh, it
anybody-
is.
Anybody
I
can
think
bid on
anyone
this.
can.
It's a
Yeah.
public auction.
Yeah,
Why, you see
public
something you
I
like?
was looking at some stuff. I'm like, there are a few things that look like.
I doubt the town board could bid on it, but
I
But
just,
you can get your father to bid on this.
I've been needing a rock blaster hammer, so I'm just excited to see that on the list.
my guess is if it's coming off if it's not functioning, that's why they're getting rid of it, but I have no idea. I know.
Or it's equipment they've barely
They've-
used, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, so, can I get a motion to, give the highway department the authorization to auction off the listed of equipment?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing the Philipstown Highway Department to purchase out of chips a Kubota KX 0575R3AP excavator in the total amount of $100,043.39.
So this is a budgeted item, that they're looking to, purchase. It's coming out of the CHIPS funds, which is the money that we get in order, or to maintain the roads. So can I get a motion to authorize the highway department to purchase a Kubota KX 057-5R3AP excavator?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution approving the Garrison Volunteer Ambulance Corps 2024 company posting certification and sponsor approval form for the LoSAP award, the Length of Service Award Program.
My thanks to the Garrison Volunteer Ambulance Corps members and staff that get the ambulance out on a steady basis. So you guys had an opportunity to look. I think there's one.
You have to get 50 points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like.
And then
8 or
there's
1,
still,
2,
so
3,
this,
4, 5,
this
6,
has been
7,
posted
8.
and then it has to be posted again. There's a process
Right.
to
It
the
was
way it
like, I
works.
thought it was like 10 or so.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the Garrison Volunteer Ambulance Corps 2024 LoSAP program?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution approving the estimate from Philipstown Tree Service to prune trees in the Cedar Street Cemetery in the amount of $2,500 to come out of the 2025 cemetery budget.
Hey, just so people know, a couple of people approached the town board regarding this because these trees are in our cemetery, but they overhang where the buses pick up all the kids every day and drop them off. So a couple of parents had some concerns, and I thought it was a good idea to get this addressed as soon as we possibly could. So
Yes.
that's what this is about.
And none of the trees are coming down completely. It's just
it's
remove,
For pruning.
Mostly the
remove
limbs that are
dead wood
hanging
and
over.
cut back, so, perfect. And the estimate is with Philipstown Tree Service, and the total is $2,500, so, but it looks like a substantial amount of work. 30-inch maple, 40-inch hackberry, so there's quite a bit of work that's gonna be done, so. Can I get a motion approving the town board to approve the Philipstown Tree Service to prune the trees, Cedar Street Cemetery, in an amount of $2,500?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? And I vote aye, and that's coming out of the cemetery budget. Yeah.
Next is to schedule any workshops or meetings. Right now, all we have is the monthly meeting, which is scheduled for April 3rd, and the possibility of a workshop in March.
I have nothing else. I think we've been quite busy the last month. Anybody have any ideas or need of a workshop? No? Yep.
I can't think of anything.
Thanks.
So next on the agenda is the Code Enforcement Monthly Report, and this is for February. Total fees collected was $37,641.50. There were 22 total permits issued, 4 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 18 all other permits, 6 certificates of occupancy, 3 inspections of public assembly, and projects of significance. The Shakespeare Theater is fully underway.
The construction of the Shakespeare Theaters.
Yeah, they got the, when you go by there, you can see the construction on the parking lot right off of Route 9 when you drive by.
Next is any other business that may come before the town board.
I really have nothing. I did attend the State of the County address the other night with Kevin Byrne. Long discussion as to the state of the county. I think things are looking well for the Putnam County. There was mention of sharing sales tax. There was mention of new services. I mean, if you have the opportunity to watch it, it's worth watching. You should. So my thanks to the county executive, and he's assisted us through a lot of stuff recently. So I appreciate the cooperation with the county. I don't think the water tower we discussed, and that's really about it.
Brought up that the well down here is almost completed. Well,
Yes,
number 8.
the well at the Garrison Landing is, the pump was put in, the electrical's completed, the propane tank is on site to run the generator. I did speak with Cody about the tie-in at the treatment facility, and then there was some question as to whether we need to go back to the Board of Health for approval of the water, but it's based on the time frame as to when we had it tested originally, because if you remember, before we invested any money, we made sure that the water was suitable for drinking, and it wasn't gonna need, tons of treatment in order to drink it, so.
And we did the 72-hour pump test.
We did that to see if the wells in the area were gonna drop, so, and again, my thanks to Adam, and the Highway Department. Adam was down there himself, did the excavation with our equipment, which saved us a lot from, hiring a private company to come in and do it. I was down there at one point, and the minute you dig next to that, the casing, it just fills up with water. So that's gotta be a good sign. We picked the right spot for the well this time. Of course, that's groundwater. So they had to pump the water out in order to hook the pitless adapter to the thing. So the pipes are connected, the wiring is all connected.
There's one outstanding issue, and that's the communications wire between the plant and that site. Last time I talked to Andrew, the conduit that was pulled, there was still ice in it,
Right.
so he couldn't get all the way through. So hopefully this, the warm day yesterday and a couple warmer days coming up in the next few days, it'll thaw out and you can get that in.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a matter of a couple, he'll get that, once he gets the cable, it'll be done in a day.
Controls. And then we'll be
Then
no
again,
longer
the control company needs to come in and program it, but so, we're pretty close to being there.
Anybody else have anything?
I don't, I did have a question about the solar on the Highway Department garage. Bob, is there any?
Oh, yeah, well, we signed, Johnny signed the documents yesterday, as a matter of fact, so it's in the process, and right now, it went from, after he signed that, it went to the design phase, and they'll say the design is gonna take a little while to do. I asked for like a ballpark figure, I didn't get back to me on how long that would take, but it's in process,
Oh, great.
so it's good. While I was going through the vouchers, I was documenting all the meters and everything like that, so I'm gonna make a spreadsheet so we have all the meters in place when the time comes to send electric to where we determined to do, so. But anyway, it's in the process, we're getting there.
Good. Thank you, Bob.
Next is anything from the audience.
Nothing? Anything from the audience? Good. Whew, we needed a meeting like this. We
So
were
right
due.
now,
We were
our
due.
Our current vacancies, we still have 1 on the Conservation Board and 2 on the Rec Commission. My understanding is that the Rec Commission is gonna do interviews soon, is what Cecily had told me.
I think there's.
Because we did get, I think, one or two more in the last week or two, which I've forwarded to you guys, but otherwise.
Yeah, they had just started the interviewing process.
Yeah.
After last month's.
Yep.
meeting.
So,
My thanks to the people that have submitted their application. or
Yes, we
resume.
always get a lot
We
of good
do.
resumes
We
for
do.
every.
We need
committee and
somebody for the
commission.
conservation board, so. Is there any, do we
we
have any?
do, but we're kind of ahead of the game in that because we do have a Conservation Board member who is still on the board, but I think is planning on retiring come spring and moving. So we're just trying to get
Oh,
ahead of the
okay.
game on that.
Oh,
So
so we're
anybody
not
who's
down.
interested,
Okay, that's good.
email me.
All righty, approval of vouchers. General,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Highway,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Park District,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Water District,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor? And I vote aye.